Yes, my name's Lisa and I live in the middle of Birmingham, kind of, but on the outskirts. I live on my own independently with backup care support, and I have done for the past 11 years.
Brilliant, thank you, Lisa. So, in particular, what tech helps you remain independent at home?
Okay, so it starts from first thing in the morning. I can go, turn on the lights, turn on the radio, turn on the television if I want to, and then, but I've got a bed elevator, that's tech, but not wireless tech. I get up with the assistance of PA workers, get on with the day. So in the house there's the ceiling lights are controlled, side lights, television, fans, and I did wonder why am I doing one in the bedroom, to turn the bedroom television off. By the times I dropped the remote on the floor and had to sleep with the television on, I'm thinking I'm going to put that on the list, so at least I can turn the television off. Other pieces of electronic devices I've got, I've got buttons that open and close the front door, and the same for the vehicle that I drive. That's all on high-tech button pressing. It opens, it shuts, it goes up, it goes down. But mainly I use a device, not being specific, because I require a fair amount of PA support. It's nice to have time on your own to talk to who you want to talk to. So most afternoons I've got my mate who lives in Bournemouth. She's got her device, I've got mine, and we'll sit and just natter. And sometimes we'll crochet together, but crocheting by remote control, and I'll explain that in a minute. But that stops the loneliness. You're in somebody else's house. And we'd actually started pre-lockdown. Karen and I have been doing devices in various rooms for years. So we'll watch television together, watch the same programmes, and just commenting. Doing stuff remotely, we've knocked it up to one level recently. You know, I love crocheting, but my arms are getting weaker and the fingers are getting weaker. But we found out that I'm using Karen's fingers, but I've got the pattern, I've got the ball, I've got the stitches, so she's doing it. So she's crocheting via remote control. So when it goes wrong, it's my fault, not hers. And she reminds me of that very often. She was helping me this morning doing my banking. And you know, there are various apps that you can take control of the machines. You know, we do this, yeah. So it's that virtual world, the assistance that it gives. I also use it as a reminder for appointments and to do things. The last thing I do of a night time is talk to a friend who lives like 50 miles down the motorway. And so there's a reminder that comes on, can you ring this person? So if he doesn't hear from me, he's ringing my closest PA worker. Lisa hasn't rung. What's up? Do you know what's wrong? So all of my workers have got each other's phone numbers. They also know that if I ring them, that there's something wrong. Normally it's via tech. And that leads me on to, yes, I've got a smartwatch, and I used it I've used it several times just to call for help. I've used the watch and I've used the base unit to ring a phone. And it's amazing, really, you know, that you can control your environment by just your voice. But I have found with her, as the day goes on, my voice gets quieter and she can't hear me as well. So she comes up with all sorts of silly commands. So I do tell her to be quiet. She goes, I didn't understand. Be quiet. it's having that reassurance that there's somebody. I mean, I've started using my watch and then my phone as a tracking to see what I'm doing at night time. I know I'm turning over, I know I'm tired in the mornings, but I don't know why. But then when you look at the backtrack, you can see the spikes of it going up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean, also on the phone, I've got various apps. There's one for petrol stations. We press that and it alerts them in the kiosk. I've got Just Eat, but you don't want to know about that one. There's another app. It's the other one. My mind's gone blank.
So what does that alert?
It's gone. I mean, these days the worlds and the apps, it's opened our world up tremendous. You don't have to carry around loads and loads of bits of paper, everything's just at the touch of a button. It's hard trying to explain it to the elder generation, just the benefits of tech and what that means. You don't have to sit there in isolation. Yes, it's not as cosy as sitting face to face, but still it's that virtual world, and you can be anywhere within the world talking to them and what you find out. There are occasions where I do turn everything off because you need quiet time.
No, that's
but it's there.
So if you were a social worker, what advice from you to them would you give them about tech?
Don't be frightened of it. You can't break it, but give them something simple. You know, maybe a tablet with just 4 buttons where they can call their relatives. Keep it simple.
But would you encourage them to have, because you've got a lot of tech around you, to have a conversation with you first?
Yeah.
To see what it is that you actually need to encourage that conversation.
I mean, relatives can do a tracking system. I know there are apps out there where you can, relatives can tap into what the parents etc. are doing. Have they got up? Have they had a drink? Monitoring what they're doing. So you could be the other side of the world, but still monitor what your parents are doing, and then alert people. So yes, I use it as a diary and a reminder. I said all this.
It's all right.
No, it's brilliant.
It is brilliant.
That's just